Hey guys, and welcome to episode 1 of the Fart Fetish Lounge. This is a podcast where we dive deep into the world of fart fetishism and beyond. I am your host, Ebony Booty 49, and I'm thrilled to have you here joining me on this journey into the wild and wonderful world of flatulence. In this podcast, we'll be exploring everything from the science behind farts to the art of why people even like it, or even why it's funny, right? So whether you're a seasoned fart enthusiast or just curious about it, this podcast is for you. This episode will be about the gassy truth and just unpacking fart fetishism in itself. So let's just start off by, what is fart fetishism? A fart fetish, also known as proctophilia, is a sexual attraction or arousal that is triggered by farts, the act of farting, or even just the thoughts of farts. This fetish can manifest in various ways, from finding the sound, the smell, the vibration, or even just the mere idea of farting. For some people who have a fart fetish, the appeal is also in the taboo nature of flatulence, the intimacy of sharing, such a bodily function, or even the dominance and control dynamics that it can be associated with. Like for me, for example, Ebony Booty 49, I am an amateur fetishist, and I specialize in female dominance. My interest in fart fetishism is elements of control, humiliation, and the raw nature of releasing gas. My fans are drawn to the authenticity of a random, degular girl being very, very, very gassy. Of course, with other elements of myself that are attractive to them, as of how I look, how I talk, my dominating appearance, and etc. Some of the specific ways that people, can involve a fart fetish are things like listening, right? So listening to the sound of farts may turn people on. Smelling, some people like the smell of flatulence. Watching, someone might enjoy watching someone fart, or even just seeing the physical effects of farting, like clothing moving, the reaction. Other people like the feeling, the vibration, the warmth of a fart on the skin. And it changes, person to person, right? No human is the exact same as another human, right? So everybody, at least everyone that I have met, in the long 6 years of doing this, everybody has a fetish for a different reason, or they are attracted to it for different reasons. Like other ways that people can enjoy farts are farting on someone, or even just being farted on. Some people like it more casual. Some people like it more dominating, where someone is using farts as a form of humiliation or control. Now, of course, with all that being said, people can enjoy farts in many different ways, right? But most people are usually curious, like, what? Like, how does somebody like something so nasty? And honestly, myself included, I have began to realize that it's not as simple as many people make it seem. Most people who have a fart fetish did not wake up one day and decide, like, you know what? I'm going to like farts. I'm going to be sexually attracted to them. That's not really how it works. Many of us, it kind of was a happenstance, like we just fell into it. Imagine going on a walk, right? And you're looking up at the sky and you don't see the hole in front of you and you just fall into it. That is how many people begin to form a fart fetish. Now this hole could be in different forms for everybody. Some people I have spoken to say that it began by someone they knew, right? Maybe this person was farting in front of them, farting on them, and it for some reason triggered something in them that wasn't discussed. It wasn't comedy, it was arousal. Other ways that people have formed their fart fetish was through media. Now, media has changed dramatically, but so much of it is still the same. I'm sure many people can think of cartoons or movies that had farts in it, whether it was funny or embarrassing, used as a form of torment, torture, right? So some people, when they first saw that, it triggered something in their brain. So I will say that I think a huge misconception when it comes to people who have a fart fetish is that 9 times out of 10, they got it not by choice. I'm not saying it was forced. Another thing that we could talk about real quickly is that many people are embarrassed or shy of their fart fetish. Many people also try to get rid of it, but I don't know if many people have kinks or fetishes, but if you do, whether it's farts or not, it almost has like a control over you, right? Like almost like an addiction or an obsession. You can't necessarily control it. Let's compare it to someone who has like a food addiction, right? You eat and it tastes good, right? Or you eat and you like how it makes you feel, or you eat and you enjoy the act of eating. Maybe it makes you happy. Maybe something, those dopamine hits, start popping off like fireworks. But even though you tell yourself like, oh, I should stop eating now, they don't, do they? No, they keep eating. They overeat. They overstimulate their stomach. And so I think fetishes of any kind of are very similar to that in a way, where they activate something. And once it's activated, it's almost like too difficult, or there's no clear way of how to turn it off. So, not saying that everybody wishes that they could turn off their fart fetish, but I myself included, as well as a few other models or fans that I have definitely tried. So it's not like everyone is just like going out into the world like choosing to like something. Sometimes it just happens. I know not everybody is going to understand that statement that I just made, but I think for those that understand, you see what I'm saying. Now, I think another misconception would be that everybody or everybody with a fart fetish is a weirdo. So, of course, this does not just align with farts itself, right? Or farts only, right? So, even people who have a feet fetish, or people who have like the fetish of being walked like a dog, who knows? A lot of people, or the general idea of people with a fetish is that they are weirdos. And that's not true. I think it might even shock people how many people have a fart fetish. People that you would never know love farts. I've had basketball players, football players, rappers, all types of people from all backgrounds, Black, Asian, white, Hispanic, everything that you could, any type of person that you can name. There are people in that community that have a fart fetish. It sucks because I understand that people who are the most vocal are people who tend to stand out from a crowd. But I will say this, I think there are weirdos in every single category of life. You could meet an artist who is a creep or a weirdo. There are basketball players who are creeps, who are weirdos. There are lawyers who are creeps, who are weirdos. There are police officers who are creeps, who are weirdos. Yet we do not overgeneralize, or at least you shouldn't overgeneralize people into one category and just name all of them weirdos. But something that we have done with sexual things is throw everybody into one category. And this is just from a personal experience. I've never really had anybody, one, find out that I had a fart fetish, if I didn't want them to. I've never had anybody tell me that I was a weirdo or that I acted funny. Because let's just call it, I have sense. Now, of course, that might not seem like, it might not seem like I have sense because of what I do for a living. But most people fail to realize is I am doing what I'm doing in the safe space of fart fetishes. I only do what I do with the people in my community. So outside of my community or outside of the fart fetish community, no, I'm not just walking around thinking about farts 24/7. Not saying that there aren't people who are, but there are a lot of people who are not. For example, I have a lot of regular conversations with my fans. Not every conversation I have with them is about farts. And, even though some of my fans, I know that every message they send me is going to be, oh, EB, did you fart today? Oh, EB, like, how's your gas today? But of course, that's what I do. That's my job is to, live in this world of fart fetish. Right. But there are people who don't live in this world 24/7. I mean, even myself, I don't live in this world 24/7. So I will say that I do think that that is excuse me. Oh my gosh, my throat is getting so dry. I do think that is a stereotype that, sucks, right? Like all stereotypes suck. But I do think that just automatically being tagged as a weirdo simply for liking something that someone else doesn't understand, that kind of sucks. But I will say that baseline is if you meet someone who has a fart fetish, you probably don't even know it. Unless they just happen to also be a weirdo. So let's kind of jump into like the psychology of fart fetishism. So I do want to just throw this in there. Like, this is me kind of like, not word bombing, but like I'm just throwing out whatever pops into my brain, truly. So I do think that a fart fetish is heavily attached to the roles of taboo, intimacy, and power dynamics. And I do want to explain how I think that it is a form of sensual expression and a way to connect with others on a deeper level. Now, before I explain, let me be very clear. I'm not saying that fart fetishism can be used to connect with everybody on a deeper level. I think that wouldn't make any sense. Like, that's kind of dumb. Right? Like, some people you can connect with them on a deeper level by gaming with them. Some people you can connect with them on a deeper level by going on walks with them. But that's not for everybody, right? So this is clearly specific for people who have a interest in maybe already having a interest in power dynamics or taboo natures. So in the context of sensual expression, right? Again, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Farting can be a way to release tension, and relax and let go of certain inhibitions. The act of farting can be very liberating. It can be a very liberating experience. So let's just take the sexualness out of the fart fetish, right? Let's just talk about farts. If you rip a fart, you cannot tell me that it doesn't feel good sometimes. It's very relieving. And I know that people who don't even have a fart fetish agree that releasing a fart is relieving. I mean, but it's supposed to be, right? Like, that's our body naturally relieving itself. So for some, I think they just have a deeper connection with the release of that tension and the form of relaxation that it could provide for them. Allowing people to tap into their primal selves and embrace their natural body functions can be liberating. This, of course, can be very true for those who have been socialized to suppress or hide their flatulence. Women, we can talk about that a different day, but women especially have been taught to not fart. Whether it's hold it in, run to the bathroom, do it when no one's around. Like, such a natural bodily function has been suppressed. I even remember the other day I saw a news article about a girl who put herself in the hospital because she was holding in her farts around her husband. I'm like, this woman done put herself in the hospital because she has been taught that farting is bad, especially for women. And let's just be honest, like the saying, better out than in, is there for a reason. You are supposed to fart. Now, I am not saying you are supposed to find farting attractive, but you are supposed to release. So just like how putting someone in a box could force that person to do the extreme to get out the box, I think it's almost very similar. If for women especially, at least like all of the women that I have talked with about farts, being taught that you could never fart or that farting wasn't a thing so much has made women want to let it rip. It has made women want to release all that built up tension. So look, I think sometimes it is funny to talk about farts, so excuse my laughter, but just like hearing myself talk about it in such a way is very interesting. Look, liberating, if I can call it that. Now, if we jump back into the erotic part of things, right? Like I mentioned earlier, like the sound, the smell, the sensation of farting can be intensely erotic for people. The release of gas can be seen as a form of intimacy, vulnerability, trust, and like I've mentioned before, domination, especially because for many people it requires a certain level of extreme comfort, of extreme security to even experience these things with a spouse. Again, I love comparing it to like things that aren't sexual, because I feel like when you mention it being a turn on, that's what turns people like, of course, people are going to be in general, but nonetheless, an example. When you have a partner, a boyfriend, a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, and when you guys get to such a point of comfort with each other, you're just letting it rip in the bathroom. You're just letting it rip on the couch. You're just letting it rip in the bedroom. And that takes a certain level of closeness and connection for someone to let their guard down and just be themselves, to be their imperfect self, if that makes sense. Excuse me. With that being said, I do believe that fetishism, it's so weird. Like, what do you call it? A fart fetish? Fart fetishism. Okay. Can be a way to challenge traditional societal norms and expectations around the body and sexuality. And I think a reason why, this is a random thought that I just had. So, yeah, again, grain of salt. I think that because right now we are in a world where the world is trying to suppress regular sexuality so aggressively, you're gonna get some far rights and some far lefts. And farts may be one of them. Now, this next section, I titled it, okay, Debunking Stigmas and Shame. But I'm aware of some of the things I'm about to say. But let's jump into it. If you have a fart fetish, I know that you have either been shamed by people on the internet or even you have shamed yourself because farts are gross or farts are very immature. And let me say this. Yes, farts are nasty. But if you like it, that's what you like. It is not illegal. It is not hurting anybody. As long as you're enjoying it with either yourself or with people who agree to it, nothing is wrong with it. Now, what I personally don't agree with is like dragging other people into your fetish, whether it's farts or not. I think that in itself is wrong. But for you to have your fetish, own it. Own it. Because for some of you guys out there are struggling with accepting yourself because of what you have, because of this fetish that you have. And I'm going to say this. Let me be the person to tell you this. You have one life. One life. Are you going to hate yourself simply because you happen to enjoy or like something that's nasty or gross or smelly? I wouldn't. There's people who like smelly feet. I mean, we have people who make movies who get bank and they like smelly feet and then they put it in their movies. Who is that? Tarantino? That man is funny. But think about that. Like, and then there's people out there that do way worse. There's people out there that like way worse. Farts are okay. I'm telling you that if you like farts, it's okay. If you don't like farts, good for you. Good for you. But if you like farts, that's okay. And society is going to think it's nasty, and you should be okay with that. You should be okay that you know that it is, and that society is going to feel that way. Because guess what? A fart fetish is still a part of your sexual life. That is not for everybody to know. Unless you want somebody to know, you ain't got to tell nobody. That is for yourself. I happen to be someone who shares my experiences and, my reality of living with a fart fetish. And I started doing this because I, for so long, hated it. I tried to hide it. I tried to get rid of it, and I probably could have been successful if I didn't give up so soon, maybe. I don't know. But I started realizing, I was like, damn, there's a lot of people out there that are just like me. And I promise you, there's more than you even know. Like walking around hating yourself for something that has not only been around for fucking hundreds of years, just like almost every other kink or fetish, but like it makes you happy. I personally think people who enjoy raisins, I think they're weird. No, I'm just kidding. They're not weird, but who cares? So society is going to have an attitude about it. Let them. Some people don't like public, what is that shit called? Public affection, PA. And there's couples who do PA 24/7 on the bus, on the train, because they don't give a fuck. Society is going to be yuck to it, but they don't care because they're happy. People are going to do things that you're not happy with. But honestly, the way that I have thought about life is I'm not hurting nobody. I'm doing it in my own area. I'm living my life. I'm not going to change my life for a whole bunch of strangers. So if you're worried about what society is going to think, I think that you need to practice not giving a fuck about what society thinks. Especially if you're not hurting nobody. I think if you have a fart fetish or any type of fetish, I think your best bet is to learn to accept it and to understand it. I mean, look it up. There have been fart videos. There have been people on Reddit, on Yelp, on all of these ask and get answer platforms asking about, oh, my boyfriend has a fetish. Oh, my girlfriend wants me to fart on her. It's been around. Would you rather question your life forever or just accept it and then live with it? So, I don't really know what else I have to say in this little episode, but let me end it off by saying farts. Fart fetish. Yes, there's people who have a fart fetish. Yes, there's tons of us. No, we're not all weirdos. Yes, some of us are normal. Yes, you probably know us and you don't even know we have it. If you have a fart fetish, embrace it. Be respectful with your fart fetish though, of course. I think there's ways to not act or things that you shouldn't do, and I think I'll make a post about that in the future. But all a fart fetish is being aroused by it. Some people don't even like the smell. Some people don't even like a nude fart. I mean, you like what you like. And if you're not hurting nobody, and if you're just living and enjoying your own little life, I say go for it. So, thank you for tuning in and supporting my little podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review, or don't. If you're gonna leave hatred, that's fine too. That's your opinion. You're free to share it. And I think that's about it. I'll talk to you guys next time. And remember, it's better out than in.